We've done it a lot. I used to have big wood shredders, but it's so much labor for that. It's so much labor. You end the day like your hands are still shaking. You've been shredding this wood all day, and you're like, you go to sleep and you're still shaking. Like, so it's a lot of labor that, and it's not very pleasant to be, shredding all this wood, and you got all these bent stalks. So really, if I'm gonna shred anything, I'm definitely gonna be shredding Mexican sunflowers and some other rich leaves, maybe some guandu leaves and things like that to cover the soil.
Forget about sustainability. You want to enrich ecosystems.
Every being is equipped to live a positive, energetic balance.
Keep it pruned.
We are cultivating abundance.
Not a problem to cut down trees. The problem is not planting them.
Hey, what's up YouTube? Welcome to another Agroforestry Academy video. We're back here in Sitio de Jazz. We're opening a new plot. Let's, take you through it step by step. In the next few weeks, we're gonna be, it's like another mini series or, a new plot. So we're obviously gonna be sharing everything that goes on here with you. Before we get right into it, if you haven't liked the channel, if you haven't subscribed, do so. You'll be the first one to know when the new content is out. And to all the people that have reached out to us in Patreon, many thanks again. It's going to keep us bringing you quality, every time, better audio, better images. So we're really fighting for that. So a special thanks to those people on YouTube and those people on Patreon and those people on the Facebook group there interacting with us as well. You're all great guys, and the tribe is getting stronger by the day. So thanks for that. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. This is basically going to be a plot where I'm gonna have as a main production elephant grass, okay, the Napier grass. We really have lots of big animals here. We're talking about cows and horses, and we need a lot of volume, okay? And this one specific variety that's been developed here in Brazil of the elephant grass, BRS Capiaçu, it produces 300 tons per hectare per year. Certain places up in the north where, closer to the equator, it's known to produce up to 400 tons, with all the irrigation and all the other fancy stuff going on around it. So it really is a solution for me. I'm really, I kind of regret last year investing so much in the corn rather than in this grass for the animals. The corn, if you compare a kilo of the corn with a kilo of the elephant grass, yeah, the corn's got more properties on that, in the sense it's got more protein and, more carbon, hydrates and things like that. But if you consider how much volume the elephant grass produces per hectare, then it actually produces more protein per hectare per year. It's so much more volume that in the final equation, you've actually produced more protein, you've actually produced more nutrients out of that hectare in a year because it's so much more volume of it. So, so your animals are eating more, and in the end of the day, you're able to produce more nutrients. And then there's the added bonus, you kind of cut and then it comes back again, different to the corn. So really, I'm investing in this for the next couple of seasons. I'm going to really be experimenting in making the elephant grass an even bigger part of my operation. Well, basically, and ideally I'd have a really big, beautiful field of this elephant grass, and it would be really healthy and balanced. But we know once you do this, you're really depending, if you're going for the monocultural style, you're really depending on a lot of external inputs, and little other fancy technologies and little sprays and things like that to make this area productive. So we've got this challenge where the elephant grass doesn't like the shade, really doesn't like being in the understory of the forest. It's like an emergent plant from the first stage of the forest, the first placenta. So I'm running out of area here in Sitio de Jazz. It's 6.5 acres, and we've planted a lot of forest, and we usually plant it in consortium with the elephant grass in the forest, and we can harvest elephant grass for the first 1 or 2 years, and then it goes away as the eucalyptus shades it off. So I've got an added challenge here. How am I gonna, you know, consortium this elephant grass, bring in some nice information, you know, what's gonna fit with him, and without it being necessarily a forestry system. All right, so I'm going for veg. We're about to open up a little market, you know, like a proper shop, like a sustainable market. We usually sell in the market, but you know, those kind of markets in the stalls. We set up a stall a couple of times a week and we sell in the market there, but we're talking about like a physical shop, a sustainable market. We're about to open one of those, so we're going to expand in our veg production as well. So what I'm planning to do right now is establish the Napier grass through veg production. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to be planting veg in this new plot here. All right, and it's basically 40 by 26. Okay, this first module. And the idea is, you know, we're going to plant elephant grass in the borders of the vegetable beds, and we should, you know, do about 2 cycles of veg here. My initial plan, things can change, things will change for sure throughout. We'll see what's working and how we can, you know, adjust a few things. But the initial plan is to have 2 rotations of veg in these beds, and then let the elephant grass take its course. What we're gonna do initially, we're gonna keep it cut it, you know, at like about 60. I won't even leave it to a meter, because then it's gonna have a negative impact on the veg. But you know, 40, 60 centimeters, you know, if we slip up, maybe 80, but we really don't want to, you know, we really want to hold back the elephant grass and just let it root in these early stages. Let a lot of sun come in for the veg. It's going to be great for the veg, a lot of growth stimulation from the borders, so that's going to work well. And you know, our main crop of veg here is definitely going to be tomatoes. I love the tomatoes. I love the drip irrigation with the tomatoes. So we will most definitely have other things filling up the gaps in between the tomatoes. Yeah, other lettuce and rocket and some other beans and cucumber, you know, but they're all very quick, just filling in the gaps where we're gonna have our main crop there, tomato. I might plant a little bit of corn in between the tomato, just extra bonus in the center of the vegetable beds. All right, here in Situ de Jazz, we love working with the drip irrigation. Okay, we've had a lot of questions, we've been meaning to answer it, so I think we put it in a video about irrigation. We love the drip irrigation. The drip irrigation, you know, it really it lets you really expand your irrigation. You know, if you're going for you know, spray irrigation, you're a lot more limited. Here I'm working with 9,000 liters per hour. So once I'm working with 9,000 liters per hour, you know, in the drip irrigation, I can reach a much greater area, depending on the distance of each drip holes on your irrigation hose. You know, it will let out more or less liters per hour. In my case, it's a 5 liter per hour per meter, right? For you guys on Patreon, I'm gonna have all the information, all the little stats there, all the little numbers of how many liters and per meter and per hour and you know, for the plot, and you know, all the maths is there down in the Patreon, right? And all the meters and things like that. But we can talk about this. If I was to put spray irrigation, you know, we're talking about maybe up to 1/10 of the area. You know, sometimes maybe we irrigate 20% of the area, depending on the kind of drip and the kind of spray you're using. But we really, you know, 5 to 10 times more area once you go with the drip irrigation. And you know, with that amount of pressure you have, you can reach a lot more area. And there's another interesting fact as well. With the irrigation, you get the same pressure in the beginning of the vegetable bed, and you know, if you've got like a 60-meter vegetable bed, at the end of it, you're still getting the same pressure. It's 99% the same pressure all the way through the tube. When you got the spray irrigation, sometimes you got it, you know, it's spraying here up high like a couple of meter, a meter here, and then at the end it's just a little spray. You know, the pressure is not the same. So you get one lettuce from one end of the vegetable bed, and in the beginning you get better lettuce. So really you need to have a lot of pressure, a lot of water in abundance. Obviously, once you choose your irrigation, you adapt your crops to that. Certain crops want water on the leaves. Certain crops don't like water on the leaf. So you adapt your crop to your irrigation as well once you've made that choice. So since I've got the drip irrigation, I'm not going to be like my main crop, rocket and lettuce, although I can produce rocket and lettuce because we've covered the soil, it's nice and fresh, the roots, and it will produce through that root. But it's not the same information. You know, if you plant corn with drip irrigation, it's not the same information as receiving water on its leaf. You know, so those leafage kind of crops, they kind of like that water. So I can produce that. I certainly grow corn and lettuce and rocket on drip irrigation, but it's not the same information. However, for my main crop, the tomatoes, they love it. Okay, so I'm gonna adapt a few crops to see, like squash and things like that. It really kind of loves that drip irrigation. So adapt your crop to the kind of irrigation that you choose, so that you don't have like you know, troubles. So you're not having to fight, because a lot of the times, you know, we're trying to produce something, you're having to fight it, you're having to help it, aid it with some sprays, because you know this kind of crop, you know, is it quail? These kind of crops need a lot of water. All right, cabbage needs a lot of water on its leaves, and then, you know, otherwise you get a lot of bugs if it's not enough water, and then you know, and then you're spraying things because of the bugs. So you know what, I don't even plant things that I'm gonna have fight with if it doesn't have water in its leaf. It's not gonna be like optimum, right? Premium for that. So that's a couple of tips there on the irrigation here. So once we've produced 2 rounds of veg, what's going to be the legacy? The legacy, obviously, the elephant grass. We're going to cover a lot of area with elephant grass, and I'm going to have cuts, and I'm going to make silage for that, and I'm going to be able to store that. However, I'm not comfortable that that's enough, you know. So what I like to do, I'm thinking to myself at the moment that I'm going to plant papayas down the center of these vegetable beds. So in the end, I'm going to have these papayas in consortium with the elephant grass, and I'm thinking the papayas don't shade that much. The papayas, that, you know, they let a lot of light through, and if they're there just about in the same height, just over the elephant grass there, that's going to be one step, one information, one extra crop, okay? And I'm thinking it's not going to be aggressive enough to shade out the elephant grass if it's spaced out, you know, to a degree. And also, I'm really thinking about having the cheeky passion fruit. Thinking to myself, this challenge of putting, you know, these passion fruits 220 high, you know, 2 meters, 20 centimeters high, and then, you know, pull that wire right at the top and try to produce that passion fruit right at the top as an emergent layer over the elephant grass. They're both emergent. They're not going to be happy together up there, but they're going to be together for a very, very short amount of time. Once the elephant grass reaches there, it's coming down already. So, and then it's going to be playing catch up with the papaya, playing catch up with the passion fruit. And I'm going to have to be quite radical with the pruning. I'm going to have to prune down the passion fruit, quite radical, at least once or twice a year. Bring it all down, radical prune. So that's going to produce some coverage, some organic matter for me coverage. It's quite vigorous, the passion fruit. I can produce a lot of matter, and I get 1 or 2 crops a year out of those passion fruit there. And I would have to do the radical prune to let the light in, and you know, and that's also going to be the organic matter to cover the soil, and I get a bonus passion fruit crop from that. Now, if I'm stealing from the area, say 300 tons per acre worth of elephant grass, I'm going to need to be replacing all this energy, and just the material from the passion fruit is not going to be enough. So yes, I got a sunlight coming in contributing, I got water irrigation coming in contributing, but I'm going to have to commit myself to bringing back the cow manure and the horse manure that this elephant grass ultimately becomes. So I'm stealing this elephant grass, it's going to become the manure. I'm going to have to be bringing it back. It can't be theory or it's not going to work. It's going to have to be practical. It's going to have to be systematically, you know, monthly, weekly, bring out from the barns and return it here. Obviously, I have lots of other areas I want to benefit from the manure of the cows, but I can't cheat on this. I need to at least half of the manure produced in the house, I'm gonna have to bring it back. Okay, so but I guess if I bring back half of the manure, I got the water, I got the sun, I got other things producing organic matter, I might just come to like a balance where I can sustain and grow with that, and then, you know, grow soil and better the environment with that. Okay, and it's really gonna pay, you know, and then I'm gonna have all my cows healthy throughout the drought, because I'm gonna have the volume of silage necessary. Next to us here, I've got an old forest, some tall eucalyptus producing a lot of organic material ready for that forest. What we've done, we've chosen to steal a little bit of that matter, of that material, of those leaves, to start covering the corridors on this new plot. So I'm doing a bit of stealing. I'm really not fond of this, stealing from one plot to help the other. You see, but this plot has been quite prosperous for me next door. It's been very low cost. It's been an experiment. This plot here next to us, about 25 by 20, was planted purely on Mexican sunflower. There was no manure used. It's a process that took a lot longer for me to harvest coffee here. Instead of it being 2 years, it's been 4, maybe even 5 years. We're 4.5 years into to get our first harvest. So it's a lot longer process, but we're showing that you can reach the processes. If you use the processes of life, processes of the earth, you will achieve the results. However, it takes a little bit longer. It's a longer process when you're not coming in being aggressive with the initial manure. So there's been experiments here, and it's been a plot where we've been very patient with it. We've waited a lot. So I guess I can be more patient with it. I'm gonna do a little bit of stealing there to get this baby here booming from the very beginning. We've invested quite a lot here. So it's actually quite interesting where I'm pruning these eucalyptus, and in the past it's been pruned at 2 stages, because a while back I didn't have the tool to prune up 5 meters, 4 meters high. You know, we've got a tool now that goes up to 6 meters. In the past I didn't have that tool. So the order here was, you know, let's do it quick, let's do it low cost. Prune these eucalyptus as high as you physically can, standing up, to be real quick and efficient. So we got them at about 220, where back in the day people, you know, would just come with a saw and just prune it there with a 2 meter high cut. And then, you know, a couple of years down the line, I managed to get the tool, so I let one shoot grow, and now we're pruning it at 4 to 5 meters tall. But that's left me with a knot somewhere in between, where I have these sprouts right in the middle of the trunk. So actually in these eucalyptus, I've managed to have 2 canopies. I've got like a main canopy up there, 4 or 5 meters, and I got this sprouting boom right in the center, where it's like 2.5 meters, 2 to 220 meters there. I got this all this information of new shoots. So I've actually managed to get like 2 canopies of this, and I'm finding this really sexy actually. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna steal from the very top canopy, and that's gonna be enough not to shade my vegetable crops. Okay, because these trees is given a negative information with shade at times of the day. So I'm actually gonna go ahead and steal from the top canopy. And you know, we're at the height of the drought. We're about 15 days away from the peak of the drought. I guess it might rain in about 40 days. So, you know, in about 15 days, we're entering the last month of the drought. So, you know, the coffees under these eucalyptus, they're not going to be in the bare sun for this month, because I got this secondary canopy further down. It's going to keep on shading the coffees for this month. I'm going to harvest all that material from the top canopy, use that, and because the sunlight, you know, it gets blocked right from the top canopy there, I'm going to open the sunlight, so it's going to work all round. I'm really chuffed about that actually. Okay, so to prepare the soil here, first I got the micro tractor in from our association. I rented it for a couple of hours. We've got the on a rotary hoe on this micro tractor, and we've actually, you know, softened out the soil. We've done a crisscross. We've gone all the way north south and then east and west. We've done a nice crisscross on the soil. We've got it nice and soft there. Prior to that, I actually stretched out the irrigation because it's very dry. So that when I'm going through with the tractor, there's not all this dust and I'm losing all the soil. So we've got the irrigation down. We've got the soil nice and moist. Brought out the irrigation, used the tractor, done the crisscross, got that soil nice and soft. And then we start to draw out the vegetable beds. We manured it with, we introduced cow manure and rock dust. Once we've got that cow manure and rock dust, we've got the rotary hoe from the micro tractor again. You know, we incorporated that in the soil quite deep. So we went with the tractor to get that cow manure and that rock dust, which is going to be releasing its minerals quite in the long term. So I really want that quite deep. So this input's actually gone and integrated with the soil quite deep. Once we've done that, we started shaping out the vegetable bed and come with another layer of chicken manure with ash, homemade ash from the bonfires, from our oven, our fire oven. So we've gone with chicken manure and ash in the top layer, and then we just kind of incorporated that in the first like three to four fingers worth, you know, up to the first 10 centimeters. And then we kind of incorporate that top material to be, you know, more plush for the vegetable roots. Okay, so we've manured it deep down, and we've got that first layer there as well of some plush material there, the ash and the chicken manure. Now, and then we've got that manure in, we've shaped our bed. We know how we like to shape our bed. You know, we've got that nice concave there to get all that energy, all that moist, all that organic matter that covers that vegetable bed, all that can fall into the bed, not fall out of the bed if it was the contrary. We've spoken about this in so many videos. We recommend you go back and you do the full course. We've got the course, I think we talk about this in a little greater detail there. So then we've gone ahead and we started covering, we've got one vegetable bed basically, which we've covered already. This is what we're doing. My first choice of material to cover the vegetable bed here is the horse manure. The horse manure, I won't consider it as a manure to integrate with the soil if I've got better manure for that, but I think it's one of the premium material to cover, you know. So it's very important that I don't integrate this horse manure with the soil and I don't mix the material. So I've got this material just over it. It's a blanket. So when we're going to plant the veg, we you know, we get this horse manure, we brush it to the side, we can spot the soil, we make the little hole and we plant the veg, close that hole, and then bring back that horse manure to the foot of that vegetable seedling. And we've got that as a nice cover, bringing in that shade. It's just the extra cream, you know, it's covering and it's you know, giving it nutrients, and it's also using something that we have that we just have to pick. If I'm having to like shred wood and things like that, we've done it a lot. I used to have big wood shredders, but it's so much labor for that. It's so much labor. You end the day like your hands are still shaking. You've been shredding this wood all day, and you're like, you go to sleep and you're still shaking, like, so it's a lot of labor, that, and it's not very pleasant to be, you know, shredding all this wood, and you got all these bent stalks. So really, if I'm going to shred anything, I'm definitely going to be shredding Mexican sunflowers and some other rich leaves, you know, maybe some guandu leaves and things like that to cover the soil. Some softer material, and the horse manure there works really well for me here. So we've gone ahead and we've already started planting the tomatoes today. On the Monday, we're going to be bringing in and planting all the elephant grass. So you're going to be watching this, keeping in touch with us in some nearby videos, okay? So I hope there's been, you know, a little bit of an update on this new plot. Just a few thoughts on that. Let's see how it develops, what changes on that. So, you know, from the Agroforestry Academy crew, again, I encourage you, you know, if you want to donate and help the channel, if you dig the stuff, we've got a tier there. It's $7.90. You know, if you got that kind of cash flow, it's a nice gesture to keep us going. You know, if you really want a little bit of extra information there on each plot, on every video, you get it in the Patreon account 1 week early, all right? And you get like a PDF, you get some text with it, and then, you know, that's when we break down all the maths, where we got, you know, how much drip irrigation per meter square and the length, you know, a little bit of more maths right there for you, okay? So that's something we're giving back as well. A little bit of extra work there for us, you know, putting that text down and giving back to the people that have supported us, not only through watching the videos, not only through sharing with your friends, which we really appreciate as well, but also helping us bring in, you know, we've got plans there for more microphones and more cameras for better angles as well, all right? So from the Agroforestry Academy crew, Appreciate you being here with us. Till next time, baby.